Welcome to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSN Community Radio. NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. We are the largest grassroots advocacy network for people with mental illness and their family members, with over 800 national affiliates and 13 Kansas affiliates, with NAMI Wichita being one of those 13. We provide awareness, support, education, and advocacy for people affected by mental illness. Our purpose here is to provide a community conversation on KSN Radio that gives insight into what it's like to live with a mental illness. Our intention and our hope is that our program will change attitudes, assumptions, and stereotypes about people with mental health conditions, and in so doing, we will stop the stigma associated with mental illness. My name is David Larson. I'm very pleased and proud to be your host today, and I am a person living with mental illness. I am in recovery for major depressive disorder. Like everyone, I struggle with the ups and downs of emotions and the challenges of being fully human, but I am doing great. And I know I have many gifts to offer my family, my friends, and my community. Now, before I get too far into the program, I want to introduce David Peterson, our executive producer. Hello, David.
Hello, David.
And our technical producer is Matthew. Hello, Matthew.
Hello, David.
And our helper for Matthew is Mike, which is the actual guide for Matthew. Hello, Mike.
Hello.
And thank you all for being here and for sharing with me and our guest today. And speaking of our guest, it is my pleasure to introduce our guest, who is Melissa Sherry Fitzwater. Did I get that right?
You sure did.
Awesome. All right. Well, Melissa, let me ask you the question which our listeners get so used to hearing, but we enjoy it because it gets us discovering the person. So where were you born and where did you grow up?
I was born in Hammond, Indiana, but I grew up, I kind of have an interesting background. I grew up in England in the Middle East, and then
Really?
Moved to San Diego freshman year of high school.
Awesome.
My dad was in oil.
Okay.
So when you asked me earlier, it's the easier question is just stay to San Diego. But if
yeah,
you're going to get into it, then
England
that's
and the
it.
Middle East. Wow. Now I have a ton of questions about where in England and everything. So
I was able to live there in the 80s during the fun punk era.
okay.
Carnaby Street, all that fun stuff. We lived in 3 different places on the outskirts of London, just on the very edge of where the tube hits you.
That is so cool.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. That is so neat. Well, what high school did you graduate from?
Valhalla High. And
Valhalla High.
yeah, it's in East County, San Diego.
And what is their mascot? Do you remember?
The Norsemen.
The Norsemen. Valhalla, the Norsemen. That makes sense.
Yes.
All right.
That was actually my high school mascot.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was the
what era?
Norsemen?
Oh, it was Parsons Vikings.
Okay.
That's in here in Kansas.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, so what are some of your hobbies?
Well, I have 2 girls. They are 13 and one just turned 15.
Go ahead and give a shout out with their names.
Tatum is my 15-year-old and Adelaide is my 13-year-old.
Hello, Tatum, and hello, Adelaide.
And let's see, Tatum likes to play tennis and volleyball. So when I can, I hit the courts with Tatum. And then Adelaide is more of a dancer, and she likes to do some running. So we like to do some yoga classes and dance classes together.
That is so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Well, now, do you have a significant other that you also want to give a shout out to?
I do, and that's fine.
That's fine.
He knows
Fair
who
enough.
he is.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Well, then he will go woohoo when
There
he
you go.
hears you on the radio. So, do you happen to have any pets?
Oh, yes. I have 2 pugs.
2 pugs.
I-
Wonderful.
Yep, I have 2 pugs and a stuffed chocolate lab. So he's also
Oh.
mine. So, yeah, so I have my pugs are 4-year-old Loretta and about a year and 6 months old Petunia, but we call her Toonie.
Okay.
And then Tag is my chocolate lab. Then
Wonderful.
And I share him.
Well, make sure you give them lots of hugs from me, who they don't even know. All right. So
they would love you. They're,
Awesome.
They're great little pups.
I love pups, so that's great. Well, let's see. If I go with this next question, Well, let me jump ahead.
Okay.
Do you happen to have a hero or heroine?
Oh, it sounds pretty bad if I say no, but I.
That's okay.
Okay. I mean, there's a lot of people that I look up to in life, but I don't really
Okay.
have, for specific reasons, but I don't really have one in particular.
Okay, well, that's good enough.
Yeah.
In that case, let me go ahead and come to our break time, and this is Our Own Voice on KSUN Community Radio. We are going to take a quick break and be right back. Welcome back to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSUN Community Radio. NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Our Own Voice is intended to humanize a misunderstood, highly stigmatized topic of mental illness by showing that it's possible and common to live well with a mental health condition. And I am talking with Melissa Sherry Fitzwater, who is the Director of Community Relations at St. Anthony's. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Wonderful. And now, I was going to ask you, well, yeah, I still will ask you that. So do you have any family members or friends who have a mental illness?
I do. Yep.
Okay. And close family or distant family, or how does that work?
My brother, actually.
Okay.
My brother was diagnosed his senior year of college as being bipolar.
Okay.
With the correct support and cocktail of medication, he's now an incredibly successful attorney.
Wonderful.
Yeah, in the San Diego area. But
That is great.
it's one of those things that he just has to monitor his playtime, his work time, and his sleep, and
Yeah.
really keep it in check in order to stay healthy.
Yes,
Yeah.
very true. So how old were you then when you first encountered someone with a mental illness? Obviously, your brother. Are you the youngest or the oldest, or?
I am 8 years older than he is.
Okay, so
But my grandma was a PhD level psychologist, and so I remember going into her offices sometimes when we'd visit on vacation and visit with her, and then see some of the patients that she works with.
okay. So your current experience with mental health issues.
So right now, as you said, I am the Director of Community Relations at St. Anthony's, and we are a freestanding geriatric psych hospital for ages 65 and older. By saying freestanding, that means that we are not hooked on or attached to a hospital.
Okay.
So we do not have emergency services there, and we only deal with psychological issues.
Okay.
There.
So say David here next to me is needing to go in for services. He has to be placed in St. Anthony's from one of the other hospitals.
Not exactly. So
Okay.
the thing that's great about St. Anthony's is that we can take a referral from the community. We can take the referral from a primary care physician. We can take the referral from a psychiatrist. We can take the referral from anybody. It doesn't have to be from a hospital to hospital. And the process is that they call our admissions line, and we have trained nurses that staff that line, and the nurses will walk you through our process of what we need in order to be admitted to St. Anthony's.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and it's 65 or older.
Yes.
So about what is your current age range now?
Well, so what we shoot for age 65 and over, but our payment source is Medicare. But if we have somebody that's exhibiting signs that somebody age 65 or older would exhibit, and they're 63 or 61, we'll definitely look at them as a case-by-case basis.
Oh, okay.
We have had somebody, I think as old as 101 in
Wow.
there. I think so, yeah. And I think that our youngest was down to about 61.
Okay.
So,
All right.
and they'll come to us for a variety of issues. So, from anxiety to schizoaffective disorder, Alzheimer or dementia issues. We call it a mental health tune-up.
Okay.
They come into.
That's a good way of looking at it. A mental health tune-up. I like that.
How long is the average stay there?
We shoot for 10 to 14 days. However, we just had somebody that was in there. I want to say she was there for 46 days. She was a little bit younger. She had some issues that were a little bit more difficult to manage, and so took a while to find that correct medication mix. And so we do not want to discharge people back to the community, back to their home, just because their days are up. We'll discharge them back once we have everything right and they're as good as they can possibly be.
Thank you for that. That is so good to hear.
Yep.
So what kind of issues do you find that you have with people who are geriatric, who are also dealing with mental health issues, and their medications? What do the medications not work as well as someone younger, or?
Well, I'm not medical.
Okay.
But I believe what happens is that different things happen in their life. And so maybe somebody went in for surgery and that might mess up their meds just a little bit. And so they'll have to come in and get a med adjustment. We also are finding that people, one of the issues that people are having why they come in is new transition. Maybe they just transitioned to a long-term care place. So they just need to come in for a little bit of extra assistance with medication as well as therapy. We really work on therapy too.
That's excellent. Well, this is Our Own Voice on KSN Community Radio. We are talking with Melissa about mental illness, and we're going to take a quick break and be right back after these messages.
Our Own Voice is brought to you by NAMI. If you would like to learn more about the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the programs we offer, or get involved, please visit NAMI.org.
Welcome back to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSN Community Radio. NAMI is a National Alliance on Mental Illness. And so during the break, Melissa, we were talking about what makes you different than the other hospitals and things like that. And before we do that, though, can you give us the phone number and the general location of where St. Anthony's is located?
Sure. Our number is 316-869-0507. And we have 3 LPNs, nurses, that staff that line, and we'll be able to answer any questions that you have to. Don't be in a crisis situation to call us, or you don't have to be. We're there to just bounce some ideas off people's heads.
Okay,
too.
and what is your web address?
It is Saint, then just st-anthonyshospital.com. And you can click on virtual tour and you can see a tour of the hospital. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And that's, you said northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest.
It's located in northeast Wichita.
Northeast Wichita.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. So now let's talk about therapies.
Okay.
Because you really wanted to focus on the unique therapies that St. Anthony's does.
Right. So one of the things that makes us really different is, first of all, our setting. We are in a long-term care setting. So what we've done is we have converted one of our houses that is in a long-term care facility. It's in Reed's Cove, and we've made it a ligature-free hospital environment, which means that it is a safe hospital environment.
Right. We had St.
Tour St.
I,
Joe.
yeah, I tour St. Joe, who when they did their refab for their facility, and they were talking about the ligature-free.
Ligature-free, yeah.
Yes.
So, so ours is more of a living room setting.
Okay.
So what we're finding is that people are having their therapy and they're healing in an environment that is going to be very similar to what they're going back to. So we have carpet on the floors, we have comfortable chairs, we have comfortable tables. Our nurses chart at the table with our residents, our patients as well. And so we're finding that when they're done with their stay, they are having a very easy time adjusting back to whether it's their home, their long-term care setting, because of the environment that they're healing in and having their therapies in.
Okay. So what kind of therapies do you have?
That's what really sets us apart. We have a number of therapies. We have music therapy. Our music therapist is a certified music therapist. There's not a whole bunch of them in Kansas, and we're lucky to have one. We also have what I call puppy therapy, so it's canine therapy.
Wonderful.
Yep, that's always a favorite. We have also hired a trauma therapist. So one of the things that we were talking about during the break was that medication can only go so far.
That's right.
And yep, and there's a lot of people in this generation that have experienced trauma in their life, and they haven't dealt with it due to stigma. And so now when they have dementia or high anxiety, these traumas are coming back. So we have a trauma therapist. We've also just hired a recreational therapist.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And we have our mental health technicians are always there for the creative therapy. So sand play, coloring. And then we have the traditional group therapy as well as individual therapy. So with those therapies, we're able to incorporate people even if they don't have the traditional way of speaking and communication. That way we can communicate through music. We can communicate through different types of art. So you can be nonverbal and come in as long as we can have a way to communicate with you. Also, we have a bilingual therapist on staff, or I'm sorry,
Wonderful.
on call in case we need the bilingual therapist then too.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back to your music therapy. It was actually the piece of music that you hear for our intro. That was my sort of healing song that I composed when I was at the state hospital.
Oh, nice.
And so it was the healing moment for me. It really helped me. So.
Yeah, we one of the things that we do upon intake, we learn as much as we can about our patient through family members. Our music therapist will ask, do they have a favorite song? Do they have a favorite genre of music? And she pretty much knows every song out there. She's like a human
is
jukebox.
great.
Yep. And so we find that even the most I don't want to use the word stubborn, but maybe reluctant to therapy people, they will have a bit of a breakthrough or at least start tapping their foot a little bit, and we'll be able to get a reaction. Whether if it's not going to be through the puppy, we're going to be able to get it through the music. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. And
that
then
is
we can
great.
incorporate the traditional ways of therapy too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a key point.
Yeah.
The traditional therapy is still good.
Absolutely.
It's not that this is not doing traditional stuff. It's that they're adding to it, and that is great. So, this is Our Own Voice on Kason Community Radio. We are talking with Melissa, and we're going to take a quick break and be right back. Welcome back to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSUN Community Radio. NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Now, David, normally before the break, I get that number from you, but I want that information number for NAMI now.
I don't know, we'll give it to you right
That
now.
sounds good.
316-686-1373, or if you'd prefer, call 316-686-1373. It's the same number. Just please give us a call if you would like to know more about NAMI. Do not call us in a crisis or a state of emergency. Call 911 or the crisis center. But call us. We'll let you know what programs we have going, support groups. And all of our programs and support groups are at no charge. And we're here to help. And please give us a call if you'd like to know more about us.
Okay. I do want to lift up that our webpage is www.namiwichita, all one word, .org. And you can also find us on Facebook, and that extension is NAMI Wichita KS. So look for those two things, and you can find us. So now, Melissa, back to you. You presented me with something that is... notice one or more of these symptoms. So explain to me what this is and what this does.
So one of the things that we really want to stress is that we want to say that behaviors like these don't just pop up overnight. Start to look for patterns. Start to look for patterns of change. So is your loved one being resistant to showering? Have their hygiene patterns changed? Are they refusing to take their meds? Not acting appropriately to a situation, meaning are the emotions just a roller coaster? And this is not the way that they've always been. So that's why we say start to look for a pattern of change. And we really just, like I said, we want people to be proactive. We do have our admissions number that we want to really push as a community service line too. Another thing to notice is are they more aggressive than normally? I guess what I'm saying is just if their normal everyday patterns have changed, their emotions are different, that's when you'll want to start looking for some help before it turns into a crisis.
And you're saying it may not be an instantaneous change. It probably won't be, in fact.
Right.
But 3 months, 6 months, even 9 months or 12 months down the road, you may think back that distance and say, you know what, this is different than how they normally are.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Or even with some of our population, it can be over a week.
Yeah.
We'll have some facilities think, oh, okay, they've just had a bad day. Maybe it'll be better tomorrow. And then it just escalates as the week goes on.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to do something at 4. It's hard for us to do something at 4 o'clock on a Friday. But call us once you see some of these changes.
Right. And that number, which I need to note to the listeners, is different than our NAMI number that we just gave out. That number again is what?
It's 316-869-0507. And I do want to note that we do have a sister facility in Olathe, Kansas. You can call this exact number for Olathe, too. It's the same people that staff our admissions lines. We are taking referrals and admissions from all over Kansas.
Okay. And you noted that, I don't know if you noted this during the break or not, but you said that the referrals don't have to be hospital to hospital,
Right.
that they can be community-wide, they can be therapist-wide. It just,
Yep.
whichever way works.
It can be a home health agency. It can be a daughter calling on her mom. It can be anybody. We want to make this an easy process. However, you do have to follow our process that we have. And the very first step is to call that admissions number. And then they will give you the next step. what to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this, I was joking during the break that I would be the one who would go in, which is true because I have a mental health issue, and that could raise its head at any time. I'm not to the 65-year mark, but nonetheless. It's something to be thinking about for the future, and I'm definitely going to go home, give this information to my daughter, and say, "Okay, this is what you need to know."
Yep.
So,
Yep.
may
We're-
even make her sit her down and make her listen to the radio show. She's
That'd be
she's
great.
not a typical listener of my radio show, so listen to me, my radio show. It's our radio show. All right, so let's see, what else can I get at here?
Want
Let's
to give
see.
that website again?
Yes,
So the
your
website,
website.
it's Saint, which is st-anthonyshospital.com.
Okay. And with that, I'm going to say this has been Our Own Voice, and we have been talking with Melissa Sherry Fitzwater, and we thank you for that. Thanks for talking about mental illness, and join us for our next Our Own Voice program.
Thank you very much.